Shalum Shalum Mashpaka. Baruk Yahuah for the time, for the Shabbat, and actually today's Friday, so we had Wednesday rest. Definitely needed rest. It was a very long journey back home, but hallelujah, made it home before the sun rose, and got a few hours of sleep, and then we were just up, spending time together, a little bit of time in the Word, just enjoying each other's company. Missed the family a lot. Then we went and picked up our Azure, and we got a lot accomplished yesterday. Baruk Atah Yahuah. Even got some extra stuff for the truck, just a jump box and a bottle jack and a tire iron. After the experience that I had with the blowout on the trailer, I felt it essential to have some of these things, like, just in case. And actually the jump box is something that I really have felt a lot about. I mean, every dawning that I wake up after sleeping in the truck, I'm wondering, is the truck going to start, you know? And it has every time. It's more just like a peace of mind, like a just in case. And I know that at the store they're like, oh yeah, no, this is the one that you need for a V8 diesel, but the thing is, too, guys, I could be wrong, but, you know, the truck does have 2 batteries, and even if it doesn't start, I believe that they'll each have a little something that they bring to the table, and when you insert the jump box into it, it's kind of like adding another battery to that pair of batteries, right? So I think that it would be enough to push it over. If it was just simply something like, you know, something was drawing on the battery, and which there really isn't. So I don't really believe that that's like an issue. But if there's something more extreme than that happens, I do have coverage, and I do have jump starts, lockouts, fuel deliveries, and some towing coverage too, that we just decided to get in the very beginning to have as like a type of insurance for the truck, because we are running this like a business, and we did form an LLC with the state of Washington and all that, right? You have commercial insurance. So anyway, Baruk Yahuah, you guys, I got another load. I thought for sure I was going to have to go all the way back to Indy, and you got to get within 250 miles of the yard to get a load, and there have not been a lot of just regular load outs, which would be the kind that I was looking to get. There have been a lot of, I shouldn't say a lot, there have been a few. July is like the slowest month, so there have been a few reloads, which are usually like dealer-to-dealer transfers. A lot of what I just did the last time when I was in California, the Vegas to Santa Rosa, and the 2 drops at Vacaville were all reloads. This reload is picking up pretty close to here, Hansen, Idaho. Okay, so I'm just gonna be there. I'll have 1 day of driving, and then I'll be there. So, you know, Baruk Yahuah, I'm gonna be spending the night at a place which is Traveler's Oasis in Eden, and I've stayed there before. It's not my favorite place, but I know that I can stay, and it's only a few minutes away from the yard. So it's exactly what I did the last time I went to Hansen. I'm trying to remember what that load was that I did Hansen to something, but I don't recall. But anyway, this is going to be Hansen to Anthony, Texas. So this will be my first time taking a load to Texas. It is just so barely Texas because it's like right on the New Mexico / Texas/Mexico border. So I don't know. We'll see what we see. We're going to be going all the way through Utah as well, picking up in Idaho, going through Utah, going through New Mexico, north to south through both of those, Utah and New Mexico. So that'll be interesting. I get my first experience of getting a permit in person in New Mexico. It says that you have to go into the port of entry and get it. So, whew, Maya Pasha. Hi, baby. I love you. Look at the horsies and the moo-moos. I want a moo-moo. Aw, they're so cute. She's been really knocking it out of the park for me with regards to permits, and a lot of them are either online or there's like this company that we call that helps us to get permits. But this one it needs to be in person. So I don't know what they're going to ask, what the process is, what kind of information I'm going to have to try to. I should have access to all the information they require. It's just because I've never done it before. It's like, oh, what's going to happen? We don't know. We don't know until we get there. Anyway, so Baruk Yahuah, it looks like my escrow is topping off with this load, which is basically they take 10% out of every load that you get until you get to $1,500. Once you get $1,500, they keep that in an account to cover any type of incidental where there's like an accident where I guess like you're at fault or something like that. So it's required. I think all of the companies do it. So you got to do that. And then if you de-lease with the company and you have that money there, it's basically your money anyway. So yeah, stay safe, and it ends up being kind of like a little bit of a savings account in case you ever get de-leased or you decide to move on, or whatever the case may be. So all that being said, the Hansen To Anthony is paying only $1.40 a mile. It is a pretty small little Jayco trailer. I like going to this yard because even though they got those hound dogs there, they just bark at you the whole time you're hitching up. You can go anytime. There's just a combination that you put into a little padlock and get in. So I like having that flexibility, because if I decide that I want to head out at 4 a.m. local time, like I can do that, or whatever. But so basically I did some route planning, and I come up with the first place was Traveler's Oasis. Then there's another place that's called like, I think it's Hole in the Wall rest area. And then there's another one that's some kind of a view. I can't remember what they're called. But I found a couple places. I tried to calculate mileage and found some of the places that were showing to have the least expensive fuel. In fact, Anthony, Texas had the cheapest fuel that I found for the entire trip, which came to $3.03 a gallon, I believe. So I'm definitely going to want to top off there. And right now I have 5/8 of a tank in the truck, and plus about, it's probably about the same in the back. No, it's more like 7/8 in the back. So it shouldn't be a problem for me to make it. I got 4 hours and 15 minutes to get to the fuel, right? So that's 263 miles. Easy peasy. and that won't be a problem at all. And then I'll go ahead and get some fuel there. Now, I don't remember what it was, but I do know that it was significantly less than anything else around here. It's kind of crazy what you gotta pay for diesel out here. This is a big part of the reason why we're looking to get out of here, plus other things. We got a lot of political concerns. The experience that I had going to try to get a shotgun for home protection was beyond, like, it's not your idea of the United States of America at all anymore. It's completely communistic, tyrannical, massive government overreach, which is really a worldwide thing if you think about it. All the kings of the earth are tyrannically oppressing the peoples. See it and talk about it all the time, whether it's some obvious places like Gaza, right, or Taiwan, or the Sudan, or Congo, like it's everywhere, right? But it's also right here in the heartbeat of America. Yeah. So just to say, we knew there was a 10-day waiting period. We went to the Walmart. We were going to get the process started because I knew I was going to be leaving in 2 weeks. And we just wanted to make sure that my wife had that there for her own peace of mind as well, like, because I'm not going to be there as much because I'm traveling and delivering RVs across the country. Well, we went. There was no one that could help us. They told us to come back the next day. Then they tried to tell me the same thing. Oh, this person's out, or this person's sick, or this person went on lunch. And I was like, okay, I need to talk to the manager because I was told to come back today. I was here yesterday, told to come back today. Now I'm getting the same kind of stories. I need to talk to a manager. The manager ultimately apologized for that, said, oh yeah, I can help you. Started taking my information to begin the process, and then they're like, oh, do you have the online safety certificate? And I was like, I'm not familiar with that. What's that all about? And they pulled out a little framed memo with the website that you go to. You pay a fee, you take a test, then you wait for the results, then you get a certificate. So it's an additional waiting period and an additional tax. Real clever. This is how they are, man. They put it under the guise of being like, oh, it's for your own, right? I'm from the government and I'm here to help you. That's how it is. But what it really ends up being is an additional tax, an additional waiting period, and completely messed up, right? When you can go to other Walmarts in different states and you can be in and out the same day with your firearm, okay? So this is something that's been bothering me a lot. Why is the diesel so different from state to state? Why is your concealed carry permit not valid in every state? Your driver's license is, right? Why do people have to be in or out of network for healthcare when your car insurance would cover you no matter what state you're in, and if you have an accident and you need their services, they're available to you. This kind of thing it's enough to make you go, you could see $2 a gallon of a difference. You know what I mean? So I've seen $5.40 a gallon for diesel in California. Okay? And I've heard that there's a place now, I don't know, I can't recall right now off the top of my head, but $2.39 a gallon, and that was probably a few months ago that I heard about that. That's a significant difference, man. That's like, I have to stop and trip out for a second. It's almost $3, like $2.80. So that's like more than double. And it doesn't make any sense. You know what I mean? Not if it's what is the claim that it's just like one country. It sounds stupid, I know. People are like, of course it's one country. Dude, I've even heard people say that Washington isn't a state, it's a territory. And there's just stupid stuff like that. It doesn't really matter, but I'm just saying. We vote with our feet, right? Isn't that how the expression goes? If you got an issue with it, nobody's forcing you to stay. I'm not saying it's going to be easy for us. We've been here 5 years in an RV, and I got to do a lot of things to the trailer in order to feel that it will be safe to transport my family. You know, I wouldn't even want to transport that trailer as a paying job for a customer. I'd be like, yeah, I don't think that this one's safe to, right? Those tires are not just 5-year-old tires. Those tires already had life on them before we bought the trailer. Okay, so it's time. And you know, when brakes haven't been used in 5 years in a moist climate as this, what do you think the chances are that the springs are rusty? I mean, come on, man, be real. That trailer's not safe to transport with your family, right? So anyway, excuse me. We want to though, and we're ready to. And before I got this trailer, I had no idea. Even now, I have a lot of concerns. I started to forecast a budget through to the second week of August with all the things that are needed, payments that are required, and it's like short. You know, here's how much money there is. Here's how much money we know is coming in, and we don't have enough. Okay. It's stress filled, and then, you know, I shared the information with my baby, not to get her upset, but understandably she is upset, and I don't blame her one bit. You know, it's a scary thing, and we palal for the Father to increase our amunah, and He always provides. And I just had been checking the load board, just really being curious, kind of like, okay, how's it going? When are we going to start getting some loads? And I saw the reload, Hansen to Anthony, and I says, honey, there's a reload here, Hansen to Anthony. And she's like, oh, that's really not that far. And that would kind of get you going towards India. It's really not necessarily like towards Indy, but it is going. You are going east somewhat, right? And who knows, I may see another reload from somewhere near there, even like Oklahoma. I don't know, so, you know, or it could be Texas to Georgia. We'll just have to keep looking and see what comes up. But it does pay $1,300 and something after they take out the last bit of the escrow. And so it puts something coming in. This month has been difficult. Pretty much all the loads that I've taken, I feel like okay, this wouldn't be my first choice, but this is all that's available right now. I'm taking it. Just taking it. Because there has to be income coming in for the month. So I am very well stocked right now. This is the most food that I've ever departed with, and I'm thinking I might even stay gone as long as 3 weeks. We'll have to see. I'm willing to, and it looks like I will be able to. So we'll see. Palal that Abba give us all the loads that He wills for us to have, right? Because I don't want to just take loads. Like, I want to have His cover, protection, you know, and Baruk Atah in every load. And there's nothing wrong with that, you know. how I think that our mindsets should be. We should be walking in bold amunah, and then trusting Him. Not trusting our own wisdom, not trusting our own strength, not being proud or anything like that. So halal Yahuah. I wanted to try to get the camera on because I know that there is some pretty stuff out here. This is actually like having me hug the mountain to get around to like 90. The very first load that I took went out this way, but it was really dark, so none of that stuff was on camera. So this is an interesting view. I mean, Washington is gorgeous, right? And lots of places are gorgeous actually, but they have problems, and the problems don't have anything to do with the Arats. You know, that's a funny thing, because I would just put it right on my mind. You know, the enemy tries to say that the problem is with the creation, right? Or what am I trying to say? I'm trying to say, like, oh, global warming is a existential threat. It's the biggest threat. And they say that that's obviously because of man. They'll acknowledge that, but it's because of man utilizing fossil fuels or something, right? I say that there are things that man are doing to poison and rape the earth so that they can profit off it. And the biggest thing about the whole global warming is an agenda to profit off of it, meaning your carbon usage, carbon tax, okay? And just like they tell you that red meat is the cause of obesity and diabetes and heart disease and all these things, the truth is that it's actually the most nutrient-dense food you can get. And the fats that are in there are the healthiest thing for your brain development, mental cognition, clarity, all that. It's the opposite, family, of what they tell you, okay? So first of all, we're not on a globe. We're on a plane. Okay, that's just facts. So that's like the presupposition of even the terminology they use just inserts the lie right off the bat. Okay? Also, the oil of the earth is almost like her lifeblood. And I don't believe that it's something that we're meant to extract, especially, I said especially, I always do that, especially at the volume by which we do it. It's the same thing with a forest. If you're going to go into the forest and you're going to harvest some wood so that you can have an offering by fire or build a structure or something like that, you're just taking what you need, and it's Qadash. First Nation took what they needed, but they didn't take extra. They didn't abuse it. Okay? Where'd that trait come from? Right? It's not well to slaughter all the bison so that you can make money off of their hides. It's not right to go, oh, look at all this land. We can buy this land, we can harvest all these trees, and we can make a killing. That's not Qadash. Or let's put this big machine right here, and we can tap in to this vein, and we can start sucking all that life force out of the earth, and we can sell it, right? See, this is the kind of the issue. If the temperature of the climate and everything like that on the earth changes, it goes through all of its own cycles. There are things that man is doing to manipulate weather, to modify climates, to play with precipitation and drought, and things like this. Of course, they won't tell you that, even though it's already documented and patented and everything else. All right. I'm pausing for a second because I'm like, how did I get on that? No, because I was talking about the beauty of the earth, and that the real problem is not what they say. Like they're making it sound like it's the earth that's causing these things. Okay? Of course, they won't tell you what's really going on, and most people won't even believe it because they buy the BS so much. They're drunk on the Kool-Aid of the official narrative and the official story. That's why when we try to tell them different things that happen, they won't believe it. Just like Maya Shah was sharing with me day before yesterday, a video of a congressional hearing which took place after Hurricane Katrina, where the eyewitnesses were saying that they heard loud explosions when the levees broke, and that they saw soldiers with guns coming through the streets, pointing them at even little children, red dots on their foreheads, and all this stuff. And the oh my gosh, the congressional people that were in the hearing were belittling the witnesses. They weren't there to listen. They weren't there to help. They were there to cover up and shame and deflect and crap like that. This is just what part of what they do. Look what's happening with the UN charters and councils, where they've come out and said, hey, this nation's guilty of genocide and all that. But they sat there and slow walked their trials for over a year, having hearings and having votes and getting it vetoed, and then coming with new evidence and having hearings and having votes and getting it vetoed. And I said from the very beginning, this is just a way so that they can say, hey, we're doing something about it. Yeah, we know about it. We're doing something about it. You ain't doing shit. Okay? Salahia. But that's calling a spade, because that's really what's going on. You ain't doing nothing, bro. Don't be sitting there trying to act like you're doing something when you ain't doing nothing. Okay? Right? It's complicit in the crimes. So if I knew that somebody was robbed a bank and they're passing through my town, and I said, bro, you can come stay with me. It's okay. You can come right here in the back. And if they come around here and ask, I'll just say, there's nobody here. There's nobody here. Mind if we look inside? Well, if you get a warrant, but you don't have probable cause, right? So that's harboring a known fugitive, right? It's the same thing. You got blood on your hands. Okay? They got blood on their hands. All of them do. And the whole world knows it. And the whole world watches it. And ain't nobody doing nothing. And so there you go. Now they're showing these basically children whose bodies are like skeletons. And it's like, this didn't just happen overnight, fool. This has been going on for almost 2 years. And anybody can see how all the ingredients are added into the pot to mix up this perfect storm of, famine. So, like I said, when we palal about it, our palal should be, Abba, have chesed, or mercy, on the victims who get caught up in these schemes, right? And have your vengeance on the guilty, the complicit, right? The strategizers, the planners, the ones who do this, who see other humans as less than mankind. Basically, animals. That's their worldview. That's how they operate. They always portray themselves as the victim, but they're wolves in sheep's clothing. So see, you get these kind of views out here in Washington, a lot, all over the place, and it's very pretty. I want to make sure that we don't lose this first introductory clip to Hansen To Anthony. Hansen To Anthony. Day 1 or part 1. right back. Alright, so I'm going to try to let you take in some of the views, maybe listen to a little bit of the news, and oh dang, my baby sent me a couple songs last night. I think she did. I listened to them and they were really great songs. Maybe I could play those too in a little bit. First came out to Sultan, there was a little church that we used to go to in a town called Carnation, and this is the way that we used to go. It's not that long ago that we were going to the circus still, and even not knowing Yahuah's name and Yahusha HaMashiach, and not even knowing that it was written right there in our scriptures not to have the names of four mighty ones upon our lips, not knowing that the Babels are full of them. I call it Babels because, you know, that's referring to the confusion of the speech, the language being confounded. And when you go into your King James or your Geneva or your ESV or any of these other things, that's what you have. You have curses, you have names of demons, and it's written in a way as like putting them in the bright light. And so it's very confusing, and most people have no idea. People get wrapped up in, oh, this translation is better than that translation, and I prefer that translation because this translation says this and this, or it leaves out the blood, or different things. Okay? But not knowing that they're actually all unclean. You know what I'm saying? So it's kind of like this. If the scripture says don't eat swine's flesh and don't eat crawfish, and you're like, oh, look at those people, they eat pork. We don't eat pork here, but you're eating crawdads. You see? And you got this type of pride, right? So the only thing that we should be pursuing is obedience to every single thing that Yahuah commands. Every single bit of His will is for our own Baruk Atah. It's for our own favor, right? And it's not enough to do half of it. If you're a father and you have a son and you give him chores and you say that I need you to do these 4 things before I get home, you got plenty of time. So you can take breaks, you manage your time well, you stop and you get yourself something to eat, okay? But you just make sure you get all these things done, and I'll be back in a few hours, right? And you come home and you only did like one thing, or, you know, you're not going to be well pleased. You're going to be like, okay, I do see that you did this, and you did well at doing it, but why did you not do these other things at all? Why have you not even started on another one of these things at all? See? I hope that makes sense. Oh, Salachi, I did not mean to say that. There is a word, a Qadash word for that, and I always forget what it is, and I do not recall what it is right now, so I'll just say I palal, that it makes sense. That's a great example of what I'm trying to say. Words like HOPE, FAITH, GLORY, Okay, these are all attributed to four mighty ones, which are basically like goddesses, goddess worship. Okay, and all of that is demonic. And it ain't just to single out female false deities. There's plenty of male false deities too. Okay, but what I'm saying is that we're not supposed to have any of their names upon our lips. And sometimes, you know, there's this issue of like, okay, well, that one's written in the scriptures. And so if you're reading that scripture or studying that scripture or talking about that scripture, then you're going to need to do that. And I do think that that's different, because that's for teaching, edification, and instruction. Okay? And we are supposed to be able to identify them and share that information with others. But usually we'll just choose to say the letters, because then it's enough for a person to know what I'm referring to. But yeah, so that's, you know, difficult to keep in a balance. But the most important thing, I think, is for us to realize that these things are out here and that the enemy needs it for evil. And Yahuah has advised us to just steer clear of that trap. Just steer clear of those things. Because the scripture says that there's power in the tongue. Power of life and death is in the tongue. And he does command you to call upon his name. And that there's deliverance in no other name. And that his name is a strong tower, and to be immersed in his name. If he gave you his name over 7,000 times, you're going to sit there and believe that his name is to Holy and you're not allowed to say it? That's a lie. That's what it is to take his name in vain, because that means to make it of no account, to make it of no effect. So this is what the enemy does. They draw a line through his actual name, and they write in one of their four mighty ones. Because you better make no mistake, Lord, God, Christ, those are not just titles. That's a deception. Those are actual four mighty one names. Facts. So if you don't know, get to researching. Ask me, email me. I will be more than well pleased to tell you. I've talked about these things for years, okay? So go check out some of the videos on the channel, okay? Because the enemy, those that say that they are Yashar'Al but do lie, they do a lot of other things too, worse than just convince the world that we don't say his name. Ask yourself this: how much different types of religions exist in the world? Just go the gamut, from Asia to Europe to South America. How much different types of religions, different religious names, whatever, and they all say that they believe in God. See that? And that just seems normal to most folks. But they also believe everyone else is wrong but us. So they're like the people who point their finger at the pork eaters, but they're choking down crawdads. Because y'all are wrong too. All y'all are wrong. And guess what? The beast system ain't going to give you tax exemption unless they go, this is proved it's not a threat. I think it would be really cool. You know what? If you got money and you feel led by the Father, let's try to do this. Let's try to start our own denomination. Let's try. Right? And where we actually teach people about God, what it is, and we teach people about Yahuah, Yahusha, we teach people to trust in his atoning sacrifice, and then to guard his commandments, and we teach that Yahuah is Yahusha, right? And we immerse people in living waters, Yeah, and we keep the feasts, and we guard the true Shabbat on the day that none of these other groups do. The groups that convince you that you can't say his name because it's too Holy, you think they're really gonna have his seal? You know, the Shabbat is the seal between Yahuwah and his people. So think about that. If you had an enemy within your gates, would they have the seal of the Most High Yah? What do you think the chances are? 0. It's 0 chance. It ain't even 1 in 7. Like, oh, they could guess and get it right. No, they know. Oh, they know. See, but they don't worship Yahuwah. That's why they worship on Saturn's day, because Saturn is a throwback to Hashatan. Okay, that's what it is at the end of the day, and that's why they don't keep Shabbat. They keep Black Sabbath. So they keep. This stuff is deep. Let's check out how pretty this water is running through here. Let's see if you can see. Oh yeah, you can see it just a little bit down there. It doesn't look like there's that much water going through there, does it? 5 miles. Let's go off this wood right here. Alright guys. I think I just came out with a bunch of meat. I know that's not for everybody. Some people are really still up on that milk. And that's okay. Everybody needs to be, where they are. You're not just born eating meat, right? But you also don't just stay on milk for so long when you should be on that meat. The true Shabbat has never moved. It's fixed. There are 364 days exactly in a year. That's 52 weeks exactly. Okay, there are also 4 seasons, but the beginnings of the seasons vary from year to year, and that's what the moon marks out for us. In months 1, 4, 7, and 10, she will become renewed, and on the evening that she is renewed, she is saying that the next day is a feast unto Yahuwah. People will say, when is the day of trumpets? Well, there are 4, not 1. And they are in months 1, 4, 7, and 10. And it depends on when the moon is renewed. When the moon is renewed, the next day is basically a day of trumpets. It's a seasonal new moon. It is also referred to as a new moon day. It's a feast unto Yahuwah. Qadash assembly. Now, Qadash assembly, let's talk about that. Is a Qadash assembly an online church service? No. Because guess what else you do? You have an offering made by fire. So guess what? If we're going to have an offering made by fire, that means we have to physically gather together in person. We have to have a fire. We have to have meat so that we can, make the offering, and then we're going to eat that meat. And that's what you do, right? There's no servile work, so this is time to spend time with each other, time with Yahuwah, to give thanks, to give praise, to give worship, and we blow the ram's horn. Shupar. Shupar. Hallelujah. All the other feast days are fixed. They don't move around at all. You count your days and you know exactly where they are. And so, for example, the Pesach is the evening of the 14th, which is the second Shabbat. Okay? Because you gotta go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 Shabbat, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 Shabbat. The Shabbat is 12 hours. It is from sun up to sun down. It is not 24 hours, because 24 hours in a day is actually a lie. There are 12 hours in a day, and there are 4 watches in a night. And the day is separate from the night. This causes a lot of people to glitch out. I wrestled with a lot of these things for a while. Yahuah has to show us these things like in stages. I know I'm laying out a lot of stuff right here, and some people can't handle it. But that doesn't mean that I'm not still committed to say it all. I am. Sometimes I've wondered, Abba, why are you having me say all this stuff and ain't nobody cared? Ain't nobody listening, ain't nobody caring. Well, you know what? Maybe it's not time for them to. Maybe there are a couple, maybe there are 5 or 6 people who actually go, yeah, I get this, I agree with this, I'm walking in this. Baruk Yahuah, Halal Yahuah, right? Maybe there are several others who won't until later. Only Yahuah knows that. I don't know that. But that's really not, that can't be my concern. My concern can only be, Papa puts this on my heart, he shows me these things, and he stirs me up, he tells me to speak. If I don't speak, I become like when you take a bottle of Pepsi or something and you're just shaking that joker, shaking it, and you start cracking that little like it's going to burst. That's how I feel. That's how I'll feel. And if I open up the scripts and I just start reading through the scriptures, it's like they just come alive and start talking to me. Abba just starts showing me all kinds of different stuff. And then when I'm going through the scripts with my Yashar'Al, he's showing her all kinds of stuff, and she's telling me, and I'm like, dang, this is like precious jewels right here, you know. But that doesn't mean that that's for everybody. Some of that information I retain and I try to share, okay. But some of it is like trying to put the wind in a bottle. Yeah, that's not gonna go so well. Okay, let me see what I gotta do here. I'm going around a roundabout here. I gotta go on 202 West. That's this guy right here. This is oh, okay, yeah, this is the way I came before. Here we go, get another little look at the water. And then I gotta turn left right here. I think there was like a burger place right around here that we enjoyed. Oh yeah, it's coming up right here. Yeah, we used to stay right down there too at a place called Tall Chief, which was just an RV park when we first got here. Burgers and shakes and small fries, that place right there. Yeah, we enjoyed that a couple times as a treat. I bought a bunch of wood right down that road from a guy. I remember that. Anyway. It's real pretty, but like you probably, well, I don't think that I got any of the fuel prices on the camera there. I would say that it was probably around May 28th. Excuse me, the last time I come through here. And you come out of this road in a little town called Preston. And when I came out in Preston, they had the diesel there for $5.20. That is insane. And you know, this Snohomish County was ground zero for the COVID in 2020. And I took a job. We moved here from Florida. I got hired on with the Issaquah Police Department, and they was one to defund the police. They didn't want to move forward with some folks' training, including mine. And they wouldn't say that I was fired or terminated or laid off, but that they were just not going to continue forward with the training program, which is so bizarre. I didn't even know you could do that. And not only that, you guys, like, the courthouse right across the street has a statue of this little old person. I'm not sure. I don't want to assume the gender of the statue. Ha 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 ha. And it was supposedly a memorial to some educator. And they had this book open, and they were pointing with their finger at the pages in the book. And I go, oh, that's interesting. What's on the pages? All-seeing eye of Ra. I'm not lying. I'm not making it up. It's right there in plain sight in front of the whole world. You can just go down into Issaquah, go to the Issaquah courthouse, go to the little statue that's near the crosswalk where you would go across the street to the police station, and you'll see it. And it's this little old non-gender specific statue with little children there and pointing at the book, and you look in there and you're going to see one-eye symbolism. One-eye flying purple people eater. Yep, for real. Right like that in your face. It's like, oh, dude, this is crazy. Yup. There's a lot of things that I seen while I was here that are difficult to explain, but because they're spiritually discerned. And the thing is that I believe that city of Seattle and underground, all the things that go on, is a stronghold, binding, dominion for principalities and powers, and that the masses have been given over to the reprobate mind, and that those who are not are actually few, very few in number. So there you go. There's like a cultural clash. You have like this old school group of kind of like hardworking woodsman types of folks, and then you got this new age corporate universalism. I don't know, but is that the right word? I don't know. Maybe not. But they are 100% drunk on the Kool-Aid, right? So it's just different, and it's not that the right-wing conservative ex-gen group or whatever is clean. It's just that you've been forced into these two opposing camps of unclean. And so most people land themselves in one camp or the other, and they point their finger and say, look at them, they're wrong, look at them, they're wrong. Not realizing that, well, you're wrong too. So that's the problem, right? All have gone their own way. None seeks after Yahuah, right? All are right in their own eyes. And man has become lovers of himself. Hearts have grown cold. And all these other things that we read from the scripture. So here's that fuel. Let's see what they say. And they got it hidden. It says $5.69 right now, you guys. Dang, that's up 49 cents just in like however short of a period of time that is. 2 months. That is crazy, bro. Crazy, crazy. Alright, guys. I'm going to jump on 90. I'm going to pop off of here for a bit. Be back with you guys shortly, Abba willing. Alright? Shalom, shalom. Okay, guys. I wanted to turn the camera on to capture this because I don't know that we're gonna get it, but I think we are, and it's really gorgeous. Like coming through these mountains and looking and seeing the clouds just resting really low on the hills, and it looked like we're getting ready to start turning to the left up here. Yeah, we are. We're going to be going into the Snoqualmie Pass, which is on I-90, and obviously we're going, I say obviously, but then I paused, east, right? We're going east over the mountains, leaving the area of the Puget Sound. So I think probably starting like right around here, you should start seeing how low the cloud is and how it's just resting on the tops of the mountain. Scoot over so this Dodge can go by. I feel like he just wanted to push me. I don't need that right now, because this is a construction zone, so the speed limit is reduced. So I know that there's a bunch of trees that are kind of blocking the view right here, so it might not quite be the same out that window, but I wanted to take the chance just in case we were able to capture. I think we got a little bit right there, but there's opportunity to keep it running a little bit longer because there's a lot more going on. So let's see, how can I fill the time? Whenever I leave home these days, I feel a lot of concern because I feel like the destruction of Babylon comes suddenly, and I don't want to be stranded far away from my home and far away from my family. So that's really like a real struggle, you know, because it's like I'm forced to have to go in order to earn, you know, to cover what we have very simple type of expenses. You know what I mean? You can't rent an apartment for less than what we pay for our trailer and land and power and the water and the internet and garbage, etc. Right? So Baruk Atah for that. But it still requires dollars, right? And also, you know, we have Qadash food things that we get, so we don't necessarily get our food from the grocer anymore. You know, we get beef from a ranch, we get eggs from local farmers, and we get cream and chicken from Azure that comes delivered. It's like a co-op type thing. So we're like literally going into the clouds right now. Ruach Ha'Qadash. It's really pretty. There's sunlight coming down through muscular rays, and I'm sorry that your angle is not capturing those, but I do believe that Abba has some views forthcoming for you as well. You don't want to go that slow. When it says that there's like a mist on the face of the earth, and like it wasn't rain, but the earth was being watered by like this mist. Man, I never saw that big rig before. This thing was called a Western Star. You guys ever seen that truck? That's a cool looking truck. Dang, I don't feel like I ever seen that truck like that before. East Summit, West Summit. Alright. Whee! Baruk Yahuah. It's starting to make me want to get the ramps worn out. We have 58 miles until we're going to get on 82 east. So we continue on 90 east for 58 miles. Yeah, see, like right here, it might not show on the camera, but like I can clearly discern ahead of us that we're like in that cloud right now that we were seeing. There's like light breaking through right up here. Man, it's just gorgeous up here, you guys. Again, it reminds me of how like people choose to dwell in a concrete jungle rather than is out my driver's side window, and if I look in that direction, it's coming through like a ring of clouds, and then a ring of clouds in the distance, and then like a mist of clouds up close. So it's a remarkable view. It's like you're looking into a window of heaven. So let's see if I'm going to keep the camera on much longer or not. I feel like that we're starting to begin our descent. I know that there's like a view of some water coming up here, but we've gotten this several times as I've departed from the home camp to come out and grab loads and stuff like that. But the next one, right, like day 2 and day 3, I'll be willing, like we're gonna have Utah, There's even a bunch right there in that little flat. Kind of, I don't know what you call it. It's not really a wetland, but there's probably sometimes that there's water in there, but maybe not all the way. I'm seeing. See all those stumps where they just cut all those trees like I mean, are they gonna like try to develop this area or something? Look on the other side, the other bank, right? Inside of this, now this concrete barrier is probably blocking, can't see. You see the bank on the other side before it turns into the forest? There's just all the stumps. And even on this side, the same thing. Not sure. Because the whole world will go completely mad. Like, dude, these people look, the culture, the society is so addicted. Shaw and I were talking about this. So addicted to the internet and social media and information technology and even television. Like, as soon as all that stuff goes out, like if they lose power for 10 days, they lose Wi-Fi, internet, blah, blah, blah. Their response is going to be similar to like a heroin addict who can't score. They have chemical issues in their brain that cause them to have like a physical reaction to being cut off. They have a dependency. People don't really perceive and understand. Like if you lose power for 12 hours, it's a struggle. Now if you lose power for 12 days, some folks will just become violent. They'll become so dislodged mentally and spiritually. It's also a spiritual thing. They worship the beast system, the image of the beast, the black mirror. I recommend everybody like fast from your TV, fast from your computer, fast from your cell phone, fast from Facebook, TikTok, Twitter, whatever it is that has like dominion over you. You know what I mean? And for those who are in the way, who are walking in the commandments, you should be fasting from that type of stuff on Shabbats and feast days anyways, right? As like exercise, preparation. And some of us need to go longer. And I know that there are some like my Achu who like will go and unplug for weeks and months in the mountains. And that's really amazing. Yeah. Dang it, I wanted us to have a fast and I forgot. It's important though. We're going to get to do that when we need to. Alright. Baruk Yahuah. I'm going to go ahead and get off again for a minute. We'll be back shortly, Allah willing, right? Shalum Shalum. That was really cool being up there in the clouds like that. Okay. So we are coming out of South Plymouth Road. Have me turning left on 14 East. to be going over the Columbia River here in a moment. So I thought, let me just take a look. It's really pretty wild coming through here, because I see so much different things where I'm like, oh, I remember that, I remember that, I remember that, you know. And I guess it's probably going to start getting more and more like that. But this exact route to the yard in Idaho, Hansen, whatever, you know, it hasn't been that long ago, and it's an identical route. So, in fact, it's funny because I remember the last time that I came up here, traffic was backed up farther than it is right now, but there's like a lot of construction on top of the bridge up here, so there's a bunch of workers up here and everything. But I saw this, it was like almost like it must have been a prototype Kenworth truck, like straight out of Tron or something. It was all like extra aerodynamic and whatnot. So it was really wild. I had never seen anything like it. I did like a triple take. I was like, what, you know? But I couldn't get it on camera because it was on the driver's side, and I passed it. I guess, you know, coming soon to a roadway near you, kind of a thing. It looks wild. Dude, I don't know. Kind of halal that it's not some kind of EV truck, you know what I mean? But I wouldn't be surprised. So there's massive generators right here. This one is like I don't know if you can hear that. It's like a very powerful looking diesel pump system. It's my assumption. I'm not familiar with the equipment, but that's what it kind of looks like based on the cabling and the tubing and the size of the engine. But yeah, there's different types of constructions, stuff taking up this entire like left lane all the way across. I'm pretty sure like the entire bridge. Not even sure what necessarily say that they're doing. I don't know. There's that Columbia River again, right? So once you cross over that, don't you go into Oregon? Question mark? I'm like, I should know, right? I'm the one who worked on the route, and Shah probably knows. She helped me, but she probably knows better than I do, and I spent most of the time on the screen while she was continuing in the meal prep. But so there you go. Welcome to Oregon. And I don't feel like I'm in Oregon very long, but I don't know exactly. So it's telling me on the Google that we go 9.8 miles to 84 east. They're all exiting because of the way station. All the big rigs are getting off, maybe. Maybe that's what it is. Yeah, that or they're taking whatever that other road is. Umatilla and picking much else to look at right now. I just wanted to snag that video of the Columbia. This is the Umatilla though, real quick. Don't know how much of that we're gonna get. It's skinny right through here, very lost covered. So I don't think it has a lot of flow to it right there. That's alright. That's okay. Best thing to do is leave it alone. But they know. And they will. As they can. Alright, so 18 minutes to our fuel. Gonna pop in the 30-minute break, use the facilities, refill my coffee, but I have coffee from home. Hallelujah. Hey, some cattle on that trailer, cattle car, whatever you want to call it. All right, Baruk Yahuah family. Let me go ahead and pop off for now, and we'll be back shortly. Just FYI, I'm showing right at 1,000 miles since the last drop in Vacaville, and 17 miles per gallon. So it's 84 degrees here right now. Kennewick would be the closest, I guess, major town to here. But we just passed Umatilla for a little bit of perspective. And I can't remember the name of the place where we're getting the fuel. That's right. It's called Stanfield. Stanfield. All right, family. Be back later on. All right, Shalom, family. All right, so I topped off the truck tank, and I also put a little in the back auxiliary tank. And it came to 36, almost 37 gallons. I paid $164.33 at the pump, and I paid $131.73 my actual price. So that comes out to $32.60 of savings. Isn't that almost, wait. So if it's 38 gallons and I save 32 bucks, I feel confused by that. Is that literally like $1 a gallon? I mean, like, I don't know. Anyways, it was kind of weird because the pump shut off and I wasn't quite finished, and it said see cashier. But it's not because of the card, because there's still $715 on the card. So, yo no sé. No comprende. I have no idea. Now I want to see if it gave me credit. It gave me credit for, I have 2 out of 3 mobile fuel, or you use the app to pay. So I need 1 more and I get 300 points. And then I also am now up to 576 gallons out of 1,000 in order to get shower power for next month. So Baruk Yahuah, all is well with that stuff. And I'm on my break now for, it's telling me 30 minutes. So I'm going to refill my coffee, and then we're going to get back on the road again. So Shalom Shalum Mashpaka, and I will be right back. Baruk Yahuah.
Around the side.
Alright guys, let's see. So we're still on I-84. It's 95 degrees. We got 2 hours and 15 minutes remaining until I reach my destination for the day one of Hansen To Anthony. We're at 1,215 miles that we've been bobtailing. That's since we dropped the trailer back in California. Went back up to Sultan for a couple of days at home, and then now making our way down to another load in Idaho. And yep, we came out of Washington, we came through Oregon, and now we are actually in Idaho. Probably going to start to finalize the video for today, so that it might get an opportunity to upload overnight if I have a connection, that is. Only other knows. But I want to also get it off of the phone so that there's room for tomorrow. First thing, I'll go pick up the trailer. We're only going to be a few miles away from the yard tonight. So, Baruk Atah. And then I think a lot of the travel time also is Utah, like coming in northern Utah, if I remember right, and making our way all the way down to New Mexico. So that's interesting. We had not been in those states yet. Texas, New Mexico, Utah, that's going to be some new territory for the narrow path RV transport, or narrow path transport. Excuse me. So yeah, as always, right? Thanks for watching. Please consider liking, sharing, subscribing, and also leaving a comment or sending an email. I would appreciate the opportunity to try to answer any question that you may have, or to hear about what Yahuah is doing in your life, in your house, in your tribe, in your clan. And also if you have any halal requests, we can lift you up, petition to the Most High. Hallelujah. Looks like we're getting a little bit of greenery back. There's a big corn field over here on my side, and a pretty red barn. So love that. There you go. There's now they got this corn on this side. A few clouds forming. They're all kind of around the perimeter of driver's side here, straight ahead. Not really so much on that side or behind us. So, let's see, what would that be? That would be to the south. So yeah, the speed limit in this state is a lot higher, right? 80 miles per hour, pretty swift, and you know, you don't have a trailer on or anything. It's okie dokie. You know, going 77 right now. Pick it up a little bit here, no problem. So yeah. I'd like to go ahead and wrap up the video for day one, and I can go ahead and start the what do you call that, finalization, because it ends up being several clips, because I can't really run continuously. The camera will stop and information will just basically get deleted. So bizarre. I actually did have a video going earlier, and I looked over at the phone and it just was off. I have no idea how that happens, where it goes, nothing. So yeah, and it's difficult to remember everything that was being mentioned during the course of that. So yeah, Hallelujah Yahuah. May the Most High Baruk you and your house, give you His Gil, Shalum, and Chesed, in His Qadashayam of Yasharal, Yahusha HaMashiach. Hallelujah. Ruach Yahuah. Shalom Shalum. Willing, we'll be back mañana.